Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Chaffee on this Tuesday, and I'm excited because I have actually tomorrow off, and I'm going to be doing some fishing up in northern Connecticut. I'm going to take my stuff with me, so I should probably be able to get a video on, and maybe even a fishing video if I catch something. But no matter. Let's look at the mess that is the weather in the eastern part of the United States, and one of the things that we can see here, you see this twisting, this turning that's going on up in upstate New York over Lake Ontario, Lake Erie. That's the upper air storm that we are watching basically getting stretched out, and the western part of it is hanging back. And it seems to be timing out so that this energy that's now moving across the central Gulf states, and I mean really taking its sweet time, producing some showers and thunderstorms there. This may wind up coming up the East Coast Thursday into Thursday night. Weather models have been have been showing that for the last few days, but they've been showing a weak low staying further east. But see, it seems that at least on the overnight model runs that we've got a situation where things are timing out a little differently, which makes this a much more bullish scenario with regards to rain and even some wind up along the coastal northern mid-Atlantic and northeast into New England. But we'll get to that in a second. There are, by the way, some satellite data issues that the Weather Service is having. I don't have an updated West Coast satellite view today, other than what you see here with some clouds from some dying showers and thunderstorms coming out of Montana into the Dakotas, and you can see this little arm of cloudiness going into Washington and Oregon, but I can't really see what's going on at the moment along the West Coast. There's been some kind of periodic outages or upgrades. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing. So we'll look at the radar to get a feel for where we have precipitation going on. And here's what's happening in the Northeast. And now we've got this upper low really that is what is going to be producing some occasional showers today. We have this band that moved through this morning across New Jersey and now moving across Long Island. And then Connecticut. There's a bit of a gap here in the Hudson Valley. And then you can see this other arm that's firing up, probably a little less impressive than the one that came through this morning. Not that it was overly impressive. A few downpours and some showers, no big deal. So there'll probably be a few more. And in between all of this, there's just going to be some light rain or drizzle. And here's the weather in the south. And here's the spinning upper air disturbance back over through Louisiana and Mississippi. And, we pointed out the last couple of days that this moisture, some of it is the remnants of Tropical Storm Beatrice. It's not really doing anything problematic. Just a lot of the moisture is just kind of spread out. But there are some areas of heavy rains that are going on, and those rains beneficial to some areas, particularly in Florida, where there were drought conditions for quite a while, and that seems to have been alleviated to some degree. So let's go to the upper air. I'm going to start with the European. I want to show you what's happening, and we'll go back to Saturday. We had this upper air storm trying to pull away, and normally if that were the case, it would pull out, the ridge would build up, and actually we'd be sitting here in summertime temperatures instead of temperatures in the 50s. And by the way, when you look at the surface map here mid-morning, I mean, you've got these northeast winds with temperatures in the middle and upper 50s, and then lower 50s as you go up into the Hudson Valley and into Connecticut. And look at these 40s in Massachusetts. I mean, we had days back in January and February that were warmer than what today is going to be here on June the 6th. So let's go back, I'll show you the European. So you can see here's the upper low, and there's this disturbance. This was Saturday that kind of swings out, and you think, okay, well, it's going out. But here there was another disturbance right behind it that feeds into this. So that upper low only gets so far, and you see how the jet stream does this long stretch here. So you can see it's like this. Here's the back edge of that upper air storm, and you've got this trough that's swinging down. So the whole thing is getting stretched out in a northwest southeast fashion. And there's that slow moving southern energy that's heading to the east. So when we progress through time, and here's yesterday, and here's today. Now, this whole upper feature, you see the twisting in the satellite that was going on over Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. That's the upper low, and here's the southern energy. So you see how these two systems are kind of trying to phase a bit and come out as one trough. There'll be only some success with that, but that energy drops down, and there you have it here for Wednesday night. And then that upper low strengthens and moves out to the northeast. And this is what the models are picking up on with regards to some coastal development, which the European, all the models have it in a varying position, some a little further offshore than others. But I think the way everything is timing out, and I'll just show you this is the GFS's view, which is actually a little bit more of a robust looking upper low that results out of this. But you can watch the scenario, the sequence, and how it plays out. You can see how that upper low drops down. You've got this long trough that goes northeast, southwest, and gradually it cuts off. This is now Wednesday night and strengthens as the cutoff strengthens and then lifts out to the northeast. It actually strengthens quite a bit as it lifts out to the northeast. We've seen a lot of systems like this over the last number of months where they wind up weakening as they move northeast. This one is a little bit different as it goes in the other direction and heads northeast. And then finally, after it does that, here we are starting on Sunday. We've got this big ridge that builds in the eastern part of the United States, and that's going to bring some hot weather here. Sunday, I think, will be in the 80s, but we certainly will be near or over 90 in many locations Monday, Tuesday, and possibly into Wednesday. You have this little disturbance coming by in the jet that might eventually push a front on through. So, we're seeing, remember back in May, we were in this blocking pattern for a while, and then we kind of flipped with a ridge in the east for 3 days, and we had that 3-day heat wave in May. I'm thinking that it's possible that we could see that, we're seeing something like that here now, or we're here at this point where we're seeing our pattern change over the weekend. But we got to get this storm system developed and out of the way. So here's that low that's offshore now. So that moves out. One of the things that may happen tomorrow is that there is some dry air up in northern New England that's going to move its way southwestward down the coast. So we may see some brightening of skies, or at least an attempt of brightening of skies during the day tomorrow into the late afternoon. And then here's that low that comes out off the South Carolina coast, then off the North Carolina coast. By Thursday afternoon, it's wrapping up. The GFS has it just offshore, clips the coast with some rain and some wind, but the bulk of it is offshore, and then it moves up into the Gulf of Maine as a tight little storm. It's a non-tropical system, by the way. This is not a tropical storm. This is a non-tropical system. And then after that goes by, we start to make the transition over into that big ridge in the eastern part of the United States that's going to warm things up and then really heat things up starting, I think, Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday. We'll see temperatures up into the 90s. So I know you people that are here that are not fans of the summer heat, you know what? That's just the way it is. And if you are not a fan of the spring, late spring cool weather and the onshore flow, well, that's just the way it is. Let me just widen out a little bit and take you through the long range. If you look at these maps on your own, I would caution you that we're at the time of year now where models in the long range are going to be spinning up renegade lows in the tropics that may or may not be real, and the GFS actually did that for the last couple of runs, bringing something out of the Northwest Caribbean and into the Gulf of Mexico and into the southeastern part of the United States. This would be for June 18th, 19th, and 20th. You know what? I'm showing it to you because it really doesn't have any kind of forecast value at this point. It's just the models doing what they do sometimes, which is they key on something and they decide that they're going to spin that system up into a tropical storm or a hurricane. And I would say 95 times out of 100, it's not there. So let's look at just real quick look at the upper air and the long range. And here's our trough in the east, the last one. Finally, after this upper low strengthens and pulls out, the ridge builds in the east very, very strongly. In response to that, we get a deep trough in the west, and there's your ridge in the east, and the jet stream pulls up into Canada. The deep trough in the west will probably mean some active weather there as we go into early next week, later in the week and early next week. And then the ridge kind of flattens a little bit, tries to pop up again late at the end of next week again for a brief time. And then we start to get to some troughing again as we move into the week of, say, June 19th. So the week of June 19th, we'll start getting deeper into that time frame. We've got the trough in the east maybe trying to set up again. So that seems to be the pattern, the way it's been lately. We, get these temporary, these stretches of the trough in the east, and then kind of a temporary flip, and then it seems to want to be going back to that. That has been the signature for a while, and I don't see anything to change that approach. And not to neglect you folks in the west, let me just pull up the western surface map for you, and we can look at what kind of weather in general we can expect here. And with this deep trough, I'm just going to back it away so we can get to a closer time frame here. So we've got this system coming into the Pacific Northwest Wednesday night and Thursday, showers and even some snows in the higher elevations. And then Sunday night into Monday, you start to get to that troughing action in the west, producing some snows up in the northern Rockies. But other than that, it doesn't really appear to be anything too problematic here with regards to the overall weather in the west. You've got that deep trough coming into the west. We have to see what the structure is as it moves inland. And then eventually, the model starts to shift action up into the central Rockies and into the plains as we go deeper and deeper into the period, as we start to get more troughing back into the middle of the country and eventually into the east. So let's see what the models do today with this weather system along the coast. Thanks for being here on my YouTube channel. Hit the little red subscribe button and subscribe. It's absolutely free. You get notifications when new videos come up, and it really does me a great favor if you do become a subscriber, because the more subscribers I have, the more attention Google pays to me, because after all, us weather people, we do have little egos. So, but the attention brings more of you into the conversation and more of you here. And I like that very much. So I would appreciate it if you would become a subscriber if you haven't already. And meteorologistjoechaffee.com for the latest weather posts on my website. Angry Ben on nycweathernow.com. And if you're not on my Facebook page, go to Facebook and go to Meteorologist Joe Chaffee and like the page. I got a lot of other stuff too that you could take a look at that you can see on the Facebook page and link from there, and all kinds of things like that. And I'm on Twitter too at Joe Chaffee, JoeCioffi. Have a great Tuesday. Can please wish me luck tomorrow. I'm going fishing with some friends of mine up in northern Connecticut. And I'm not going to say where because I'm keeping it a secret for now. So keep your fingers crossed that I catch something nice, and that, more importantly, that my buddies catch some nice fish. All right, have a great rest of your day.